YouTube, what up, what up? Welcome back for all of you guys that have been waiting for this. Welcome in to all you guys that are new, but we are doing a brand new series starting today with a Nuzlocke, and it's a brand new Nuzlocke. This is something that I've created that is honestly kind of new and going to be a little flexible, I guess you could say. We're calling this the Protect the Princess / Prince Nuzlocke. We're doing this in Legends of Arceus, so if you guys want to join in, definitely join in. First things first, though, I definitely want to apologize to all you guys that my channel's been a little bit dry lately. If you guys don't know what's been happening, then you guys haven't been following me on Twitch. So go follow me over on Twitch. But I took a summer off. I went up to Montana to go help my little brother, which is a whole nother story. But I didn't have the internet or the capability to really do any sort of recording or streaming. So if you guys didn't know, now you know. Go follow me over on Twitch because that's usually where I tell everything. But we are back. I do not have it set up for Twitch at the moment. My internet's just not strong enough to go live. But honestly, I might be able to now. I just messed with some settings, and it might be possible. So we're going to give that a test run here in the next couple of days or something. But we're going to do this YouTube series, a Protect the Princess run. And this is hopefully going to be an everyday thing that we're going to upload. So hopefully we'll get to that. But first things first, let's go ahead and start naming ourselves. If you guys don't know, this game has an extremely long tutorial system. It takes like an hour just kind of going through reading it and everything. So we're going to speed through this. If you've never played this game, then I recommend you just go ahead and start playing it right now and doing it on your own and catch up to us in between episodes. But we're going to speed through this kind of tutorial stuff because honestly it just takes way too long. But as you guys can see, let's go over the rules for this Protect the Princess run. We have the rules down below. We have some figures over there. So while this is all setting up, I'll kind of explain. But the Protect the Princess / Prince run is fairly simple. What we're going to do is we're going to build a team of 5, which is going to include a knight, a mage, an elf, a dwarf, and a steed. Maybe / a giant. We'll talk about that. And then the last character is going to be the princess. Now the princess or prince, which kind of just depends on the sex of the Pokemon, is going to be a baby mon, or hopefully we'll get lucky and get a shiny mon. But that is the mon that can't be used. That's why we're building a team of 5. Now the knight is going to be our starter Pokemon. That Pokemon is going to be with us till the end, hopefully, or until the run dies. We'll kind of talk about that. But it's going to be the starter Pokemon. If you guys don't know, every time I play this game, the very first time I play it, I always choose the grass starter. So I've already played this game. I already chose Rowlet, so we're not going to choose Rowlet for this one. Normally when I do a new series like this, I do a choose my starter episode where you guys get a pick. But like I said, I already chose Rowlet, and I already know which one I want to start with this time around. So we're not going to do that. So this is not going to be a choose my starter episode. This is actually going to be an hour-long episode for you guys, hopefully. Maybe even a little bit shorter than that, but it's going to be an hour of power. And we'll probably do an hour of power every like 5 or 6 days. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. Haven't decided that yet. But most episodes are going to run about 20 to 30 minutes with an hour of power every now and then. Kind of just all depends on how we're feeling. But yes, so that's the starter. That's the princess or prince. The next one's going to be the mage. The only requirements for the mage is got to be a special attacker. I kind of would prefer it to be a bipedal Pokemon, but it doesn't really matter, honestly. It's just got to be a special attacker, because, you know, it's a wizard. It uses special attacks. Next one is going to be the elf. Now, the elf has a couple requirements. We're going to be a little bit lenient on all of these, to be honest. But the elf, I would love to have it to be bipedal, just because I want it to be tall. But it's also going to be tall and lightweight. It can be a mixed attacker. I'd prefer a little bit more on the special side, but it can be mixed attack. But tall and lightweight, and possibly bipedal, if that's a thing. We'll kind of get into that just a little bit later. Next up is the dwarf. Now the dwarf can be short and heavy. Maybe a little bit on the slow side, a little sluggish side like that, but short, heavy, and has to be a physical attacker. Dwarves aren't special. You know, they're known for their brute strength. And for this first encounter, for our first dwarf, I'm actually going to make it so it's going to be in a Shaking Rock one. That's not going to be a requirement for the whole playthrough. It's just going to be a requirement for this first one, just because that's what I want to do. It's got to be a Shaking Rock. There's not a whole lot of Shaking Rock Pokemon in this game in general, so it wouldn't be fair to have the Dwarf just be that, especially in this game with the type of playthrough, the type of, the difficulty of the battling stuff. It's just not viable to do it that way. But last but not least is the Steed Mon. Obviously, it's got to be a Ride Mon. You know, like in this first section, it'll most likely be a Ponyta, but there's a couple other ones. But the only other requirement's got to be Quadriped, you know, because we got to ride it. I have been playing around with the idea of having the Steed/Giant class. So instead of a Steedmon, it could be a Giant, which I was thinking about making those the Alphas. Because in this, there's Alphas, right? And Alphas are big enough that you can ride on. Now, there's obviously going to be a few of them that we wouldn't choose, like a Cricketune Alpha. Not big enough to ride on. Nobody wants to ride on a bug, so that's not going to be the case. So it's going to be kind of a case-by-case scenario. But that's that. Now, the rules basically is you cannot use the Prince or Princess Pokemon. We're trying to protect it so it doesn't go into the battle. The main thing that's going to end the Nuzlocke is... Well, actually, first off, it's just regular Nuzlocke rules. 1 encounter per area. You got to nickname the Pokemon. If the Pokemon faints, it's considered dead. And yeah, once you white out, once you lose all your Pokemon, in this case all 5, then the run is over, start over. There's going to be obviously a couple different things because this is Legends Arceus. And some things that we might change just a little bit as we go through because this is the first time we're doing it. This is the first time anybody's ever attempted this. Like when the character whites out, is that going to be considered a death of the run, or are we just going to like give up a Pokemon? We'll see once we get there, but I don't think the whiteout for the actual human is really going to be that big of a deal. Now this one though, when the Night Pokemon dies, so when the starter dies, that's considered end of the run. We're going to consider that because my plan is to have the Night be the last resort before the Princess dies. So we're going to use the starter, obviously. We're going to use the Knight in battles if we have to, but when that Pokemon dies, then the run is over, basically. Yeah, where was I? Okay, so as far as encounters go, this is going to be where it gets a little bit tricky. Because this is an open world area, there's 5 sections to Legends Arceus. Oh, did we catch it? Oh, there. There's 5 areas, and in each area there's anywhere from 12 to, I think, 18 different little subsections in the area. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to have anywhere from 12 to 18, depending on the section, encounters. They're not going to be the first thing we see because obviously this is an open world. There's obviously overworld encounters in this game, so we're not going to do that. We're going to be a little bit picky, a little bit choosy, but this game is very difficult and you faint your Pokemon a lot, so we're allowed to be a little bit picky on this one. But each section is going to be depending on the route. I think Obsidian Fieldlands, which is the first area, has 16, so our first area is going to be 16 encounters. Now there's a couple quests in this game that you have to catch a lot of Pokemon in order to fill the Pokédex. Like the first one is the Starly, and I think the Bidoof one. So we're going to have a room for a spam box, meaning that we can catch a bunch of those Pokemon, but they're not going to count towards our actual encounters. For us to actually get an encounter, we're actually going to have to go into the battle screen in order for it to be considered one of our encounters. So just throwing the Pokeballs to catch them, like you would in an outbreak or whatever, those aren't going to count. We actually have to go into a battle. We don't really have to battle them if we want to, but that's going to be the thing. We have to go into a battle for the encounter. And let's see, what else do we have? We have to do all the side quests before we can go to the next area. And meaning the next area, basically the noble Pokemon, which is going to be the end quest for each area. We have to do all the side quests before we get to the noble Pokemon, basically. All the ones that we can do. I think there's some that Might require us to go into other sections. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've played this game all the way through. So we'll see about that, but the goal is to do all the side quests with your current prince or princess. Excuse me. Before you go to the noble Pokemon. Noble Pokemon being like a boss stage area. Now, here's where the Nuzlocke gets a little bit more fun. For each section, so you have Obsidian Fieldlands, Cobalt Coastlands, the Crimson Mirelands, all those ones, we're actually going to have a new team per section except for the knight, except for the starter. The starter is going to be with us the entire run, which is why I was saying earlier, when the starter dies, the run's over. So we're going to try to keep the starter as like our main character of the whole entire Nuzlocke. But when each new area comes around, we're going to have a new prince or princess, a new knight, dwarf, elf, mage. So as we go through the game, once we get to that new section, so like we'll see once we get to the Obsidian Fieldlands, but we're going to have our starter, and then we're going to go ahead and get our team and try to find the princess, and then we're going to do all the quests with that current princess. So each area is going to have a new prince or princess. Maybe we'll actually get a shiny that can be the prince or princess. It's kind of hard to get a shiny at the very beginning. I mean, maybe we'll get lucky, but I've done a couple test runs of this at the beginning. I even did one where I tried to shiny hunt at the beginning, and it just took forever. More than what it takes to like normally shiny hunt once you've beaten the game. So we're definitely going to have a baby Pokemon for the start run, but hopefully we'll get lucky, and some of the other areas will get a shiny. If we do get a shiny later on, it might just be a shining class and be like an extra encounter, or if we have that Pokemon already as like one of our team members, we might just replace it so it's not an extra encounter. It'll just be that encounter for whatever Pokemon that was. Alright. Like I said, we can't do any quests until we have our Babymon, our princess, so except for the ones that are forced. Like there's 3 or 4 quests right at the beginning that are forced on us. So we'll see. And in this case, because it's the Protect the Princess run, we're not going to really consider the Nuzlocke started until we get the princess. Because as soon as you get your starter, you get Pokeballs. In a normal Nuzlocke, that's when the Nuzlocke starts. And we'll kind of keep that in mind, but at the same time, like, we're not going to battle anything, so we shouldn't lose our Pokemon anyways. So really, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Really, the Nuzlocke's going to start once we get our prince or princess. But you'll kind of see how we're going to do this as we get going. Once we get done with all this tutorial. Like I said, there's an hour of normal tutorial once you just kind of get into it, once you're talking with them and like reading the text. I shortened this down in half, so hopefully it's only going to take like another 10-15 minutes. But there is stuff to do, and we'll kind of talk about some things that maybe I missed in this little explanation. And hopefully you guys have played this game by now and you guys are going to join in on this. And like I was saying earlier, this is going to be somewhat flexible because this is the first time that we're doing it and we're creating our own rules for this. So if you guys are doing this with us right now, and you think of something that might be better than what we've already got, let me know down in the comments below, because if it's good enough, then yeah, we'll definitely implement it and we'll make it part of the full rule set. I have done some testing on this. Like I said, this is like my 3rd or 4th attempt to record this. For some reason, my settings on my Streamlabs was just way off, and it was making everything super laggy. I even lost like 30 minutes of footage, like actual like recording footage, but you still have my voice on the last time I attempted it. But I finally got everything set up. It looks like we're doing pretty good now, so hopefully this will work through. You guys aren't getting any lag. But yeah, I've done a little bit of testing, so I kind of know how this is going to play out and how we're going to do at least the first part of it. I haven't played this game since it first came out. Wow, excuse me. I haven't played this storyline, I should say, since it first came out. I have done a whole lot of shiny hunting and just messing around. Done a couple little challenges in this game, so I know how to play the game, obviously, but the storyline, I honestly don't remember a whole lot about it, because it's been you know, since it came out, like, what, a year ago? 8 months ago? So, yeah. And actually, I forgot to put this on today. Alright. Yeah, I didn't need to know that. We don't need to know this. Alright? I don't remember this being part of the tutorial when I played it last time. Just want to go to sleep. And yeah, if you guys are wondering, we are playing with the female character this time around because I played with the male character first. Obviously because I'm a male, but you know, usually in games, females get a lot like more options when it comes to like clothing and character design. So I wanted to see, you know, what kind of options there are. I don't think I've ever watched anybody play with the female, to be honest. So I don't even know what kind of options there can be. So we're going to try it with the female. We're definitely going to do some character customization. I might do it on screen. I might just get your guys' opinion for what we should look like later on. But yeah, I want to see what the character is like. Plus, like, her original, like, Survey Corps outfit is so much better than the guys. Like, I hate that hat so much. It looks so terrible in this game. Like, it doesn't feel like it should have been in this game, to be honest. Plus, like, those hats are just terrible in general. Like, the bills don't do anything to protect your eyes from the sun. They're goofy looking. I don't really think they keep your head too warm unless you have, like, super thick wool ones, so there's terrible hats in general. The girl gets a bandana, and it looks way better. But, I mean, we'll see what other outfits there are for the future. Alright. Come on, come on. I've also noticed some discrepancies with this game, too. Like, we'll talk about that when it comes around, but obviously we have our first test right here, right? She's going to tell us that we need to go out and catch 3 Pokemon, a Bidoof, Starly, and a Shinx, which, according to Ray, nobody's ever had to do that on their first trial run to be entered into the Survey Corps, so she's really putting us through the ringer, making us do the hardest stuff imaginable according to these guys. Which is whatever, I mean, it's just throwing 3 Pokeballs. But that right there is kind of a testament to some discrepancies that I have with this game. But here we go. Now we gotta choose our starter. Like I was saying, every time I start a new run, for the very first time, like in a new game with Pokemon, I always choose the grass starter. I'm not choosing that this time because you've already played with Rowlet. And honestly, all 3 of these would be really cool to have for this run in particular. Like, Rowlet is like a samurai, so, well, Decidueye is, so that kind of fits. Typhlosion kind of fits like a cool, like, wizard type look to it, like a mage or whatever. And then obviously Oshawott has his shield / knife or whatever for his little clamshell. But we're going to choose the water starter. # water gang. We're going with Oshawott, the Knight, Sir Asha. Actually, I don't even know what we're going to name Oshawott. But you have to nickname it. It is a Nuzlocke. With the other Pokemon, like the Mage, the Dwarf, the Elf, I don't really have a whole lot of like Dwarf names or Elf names, stuff like that. Like I know a few from like Lord of the Rings and stuff, but 60-something Pokemon, I don't know that many. I don't know that many like Dwarf names, so we might just give them some fun names. We might just call them like Dwarf or something, but we'll see. We'll get there. When it comes time, we'll get there. Maybe we'll just like make up some names or something. Alright, first things first though. Let's check out our Oshawott. And look, see we have Pokeballs, so right away we have it. So we have our Oshawott. It is a male. Only has tackle, Plus speed minus special attack. That's actually terrible nature. Did it say what it was? Jolly. Yeah, that's terrible. At least we'll be fast, but special attack being down kind of sucks. Alright, let's change the name. It's gotta be Sir. Sir what, though? Sir what? Because it's Samurai. Yeah, Sir Watt. Alright, we got Sir Watt. Let's get this started. Alright. Now we're going to come up on one of my favorite characters in this game. If you guys don't already know, Volo here. One of my favorites. So chill. Has the best looking clothes, honestly. Like, I love the Ginkgo clan's clothes. I think that is just dope looking. Plus, he's the ancestor of one of, like, the toughest people in Pokemon in general. Because I already know. He's Cynthia's ancestor. And Cynthia is one of the toughest champions in all of Pokemon. I don't think anybody can really argue that. I'm currently doing a Nuzlocke in DDSP on my Instagram channel. Just kind of doing pictures and letting you guys know how it's going. And honestly, I'm terrified to face her once it comes that route. I mean, I'm a little terrified just for the whole Elite Four, because they can be kind of tough, but Cynthia is, like, the challenge. And at the moment, I don't have a Fairy type, so I don't even know what I'm going to do against her Spirit Tomb. But I've still got a couple more gyms to go before I get there, so not going to worry about it. Got our first battle. This is a Nuzlocke, so if we would have lost this would have been the end of the run. I mean, for multiple reasons. A, we would have blacked out, but B, the Knight's Pokemon, Sir Watt, would have definitely been knocked out, which is the end of the run, too. But yeah, Volo is definitely my favorite in this game. There's a couple other really cool characters. One you don't see till way later. And then my probably third or fourth favorite we'll see here after we do this first little quest, once we get our clothes. But yeah, Volo is probably my favorite. I think in the future, maybe like next year, I'll probably cosplay as Volo, because my hair is getting long enough to do that. And I'll probably cosplay as that Volo, not a secondary form. Or maybe both, who knows? We have enough time. It's technically a year away. Maybe I'll get both and like have one day at TwitchCon as Volo, nice Volo, and then second day at TwitchCon as the mean Volo. Alright, so we gotta go catch things. And we're still in tutorial, guys. 23 minutes in and we're still in tutorial. Now these first three Pokemon, like I was saying earlier, they're forced upon us. So they're not going to be considered part of our encounters. They're going to go into our spam box, which I have... We'll kind of talk about the boxes here in a little bit, but the spam box actually kind of helps us a little bit too. For how I do Nuzlocks and how I kind of like track everything, they'll be kind of helpful. But these three Pokemon won't actually count towards our encounters. We might eventually catch a Starly, a Bidoof, or a Shinx for the team, but they won't matter. These three won't matter for our encounters. These are forced upon us. These are just spam ones. And I'm not considering them static either. And that's something I didn't really think about either. I don't... well... Like I said, it's been a while since I've played the story, so I don't remember exactly how we're gonna finish the game. I think Volo might be the very last battle that we have to do, since there is no Elite Four. I think Volo is kind of like our Elite Four end, which means I don't think the genies are gonna count. Like, I don't think we'll have a chance to get the genies, but I don't remember. But I don't know how we're gonna exactly do the genies, because said, it's been a while since I played the game. I don't remember how the genies work. I don't remember if you have to battle them or if there's other things that are required. If you have to throw bags at them. I really don't remember, to be honest. I think you have to throw mud balls at them. Or, like, spoiled apricorns and stuff. Yeah, I don't think the genies are going to matter. I think they're post-game anyways. You don't see me, Starly. I thought we threw it far enough, but we have a weak arm here in the beginning. Yeah, more tutorial. He's gonna tell us that we can throw our Pokemon at the trees, which we literally just did. Now we have to catch the Shanks, but it's gonna want to battle us. So it's whatever. We're almost done. Almost to that point where we can skip tutorial. You have this section, and then he's going to give us some more tips on how to do our research stuff, like looking at the Pokédex and whatnot. But once we're finally done with whatever Ray's got to say, then we'll actually start the Nuzlocke, go after the princess, and we'll be set. I don't think there's much tutorial after that. Bam, bam, bam. Do the Pokeball. Catch it. We'll be good. Like I said, these three don't count. They're just forced. Oh snap. It broke out. It's the first time that's happened. There we go. Alright, so we passed the trial. Did it. Yeah. Now once we're done with all this tutorial stuff, we'll start reading the text and maybe I'll try some voice acting. But like I said, for this first part, it's literally an hour of tutorial if we're not skipping through this, and that's just way too much. We have to kind of get this going. Obviously we got our starter, but we have to get the princess. You know, that's the whole point of this run. And I don't want the first episode to not have the princess in it, you know? Yeah. Now, there is going to be some kind of things I want to do, like this guy right here. If you don't know his quest, he wants you to catch a Wurmple, which we'll see here in just like 5 seconds once we're done with this part of the tutorial. But I do kind of want to catch a shiny Wurmple for him, if we can. If we get lucky enough. Either that or like an alpha. I would love to see an alpha Wurmple right away and give him that one. We might just catch it anyways, but like I said, these quests, we have to do all the side quests before we go into the Noble, but I don't have to do them right away. So like we might just do a bunch of the other quests and look for that shiny Wurmple or the an alpha Wurmple or whatever. And there's also like a Geodude one, I think. So if we can catch a shiny Geodude or an alpha Geodude, like that's going to be kind of like a side goal for us. It's not required in this lock, but I do kind of want to do that just because I think it'd be fun. In my main playthrough, I have all shiny Pokemon that help out on the field, the crops, like the farming areas. But I didn't realize that you could do that with the Wurmple or the Geodude, so I didn't do that. Or the Buizel. I mean, it'd be really tough to find a shiny Alpha Buizel for this. Excuse me. But if it's possible, we're gonna try for it. We might say like those 3 quests to the very last 3 if we can, just hoping that we find a shiny or an alpha, but we'll see. Yeah, but see, she looks so much better, especially with this headband, this bandana. But like her satchel is so much cooler. She has the socks and the bandana. Like her outfit's way better than the guy outfit, honestly. Like looking at the 2 between them, yeah, way better. Alright, now we're coming to like my 3rd or 4th favorite character in the game. Right here. And it's mainly because of his descendant. His descendant's one of my favorite characters in all of Pokemon. The gym leader Chuck. He's getting a little chubby, but he throws around boulders. Plus this dude has a rockin' mustache. Like, you just can't go wrong with the stash and sideburns like that, right? It's a good start. He threw us kind of far, to be honest. Like an expert sumo master, didn't have to throw us like 20 feet. He could have just like flipped us onto our back or whatever. But yeah, Kamado is one of my favorites. Volo. Then there's 2 females that I really like in this game, which we'll get to later. And then one other character, which you've already seen. He was my favorite in the first playthrough, and man, his storyline threw me for a shock. But this is something that I have a discrepancy with right here. We start off as a no star, right? If you're reading the text, or if you know how the story goes, right before we came here, Ray was talking about how there's a pasture for all of our Pokemon that we can catch. But they built it for people when they catch more than 6 Pokemon, right? Because you gotta have a place to throw them. In this game, there's no computer, there's no PC, so they have a pasture. But they're talking about how nobody's ever caught more than 6 Pokemon, so they built the pasture for basically nobody. They built it in hopes of somebody being able to catch more than 6 Pokemon. But, if you saw right there, we are a no-star rank, meaning that in order to increase our ranking, we need to catch Pokemon and we need to fill up our Pokédex a little bit more. But if nobody's ever caught more than 6 Pokemon in this game, that means that most of these other people in the Survey Corps have really just witnessed these Pokemon battling. And that's how they've gained their rank, which is the tough way to do things. Like, you just catch a bunch of Pokemon, and your Pokédex will get filled up a lot easier. So it's kind of weird that, like, if there is anybody who's above us in the system, they didn't do it by catching Pokemon. They did it by battling, or like just watching battles or something. I don't really know how they got their rankings. Alright, now we craft Pokeballs, which we already had 20, but I think they took those 20 away. Like, they gave us 50 to start, and they took the 50 away. And then they just gave us 20 to catch the 3 Pokemon, and then I guess they take it away, and now we have 20 that we make. So I think technically you could say this is when the Nuzlocke starts, because it's our first 20 Pokeballs. I don't know, this game is so different for Nuzlocke, which is why we're doing the Protect Your Princess run. Because I think this will be a lot more fun, a lot more suited to this game as well. But I mean, if you want to do a regular Nuzlocke without the whole Protect the Princess thing, I think some of these rules will be better to be applied for this type of game than like a regular Pokemon with the gym battles and everything. At least as far as the encounters go. Because like with Sword and Shield, they had the wild area, and it was kind of a different system. This game obviously is all open world, and with the next 2 games coming out next month, Scarlet and Violet, the open world is going to be a little bit different too. So a Nuzlocke is going to be a lot different. The whole idea of a Nuzlocke is changed. Bam! Our first request. He wants us to catch a Wurmple. Alright, we got this guy. He wants to see a Shanks. We have a Shanks, but we're not going to actually complete the quest until we have our princess. So, yeah, not a big deal, but cool. And I think there's, yeah, one more request, this lady. It's funny, on my first playthrough of this, I didn't complete this quest until like the very end of the game because I completely forgot about her and I didn't realize that we had to do the whole Starly thing. But yeah, that's request number 2, and it took me to the end of the game to finish it. Like I already beat the story, and I started working on all the quests, and I was like, oh, we just need to talk to her. Alright, we're almost done with tutorial though, guys. Literally, we have just this little bit, and we're gonna speed through this last little part right here. He just basically tells us, like, things to do for the Pokédex, like, to look at a Pokemon and then pull up the dex to see what you need to do left of it, and see them if they're aggro and whatnot. And he has like 4 or 5 different little cutscene sections that we're just gonna run to him. Then we're gonna fly back and then we'll start. So yeah, once we're done with these 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever it is, little cut parts, we'll get started. And basically the first mission, the first request that we have to do is just get enough of the Pokédex started for the professor to be happy with, and then we can start doing our own side requests and working through the game. Don't care. They really just basically want us to do Bidoof and Starlies, which we'll catch a bunch of Bidoof, we'll catch a bunch of Starly for the spam box to kind of finish this first one, but like I was saying, not part of the Nuzlocke, not part of the run, not going to be our encounters, so not a big deal. One thing I was kind of thinking about doing with this game is, well, I thought about doing our own like ninja lock in the future and making it to where you can't use the Pokemon Center. You have to use only like items and stuff that you create, or like rest houses. But I was thinking about something like that in this game, but at the same time, like, we only can heal at the tent anyways, and we have to craft everything already, so it's not like we could do that. We can make it so there's like no buying of stuff from the one dude, and we have to craft everything ourselves. That's really not that hard in this game. So like, we might make that just like a sub rule, but like I said, not a big deal. Alright, now he gave us the crafting kit, which he could have just given us that when we did the crafting at first. Wasn't really necessary to go all the way over here to get this crafting kit. We got potions. And like I was saying, we might make it a rule that we have to craft everything, we can't buy anything. But not a big deal. Alright, back to Lavington. See what he says. Oh yeah, felt good. Blah blah blah. Not enough for our first star. I doubt it, at least. Yeah, not enough. Okay, cool. Now we can get started, but let's do this first. So, first, oops. How do we do this again? Oh, I gotta change name this way. Dang it. Wow, I'm pressing the wrong buttons. Going way too fast, guys. Here. Okay, so this first box is going to be for our Obsidian Fieldlands encounters. Second would be whatever those are. The last one, as always, the Death Box, or as I like to call it, the Cemetery. Okay, this one I do a little bit different. I do this because if I ever fail a route, like fail an encounter for a route, it's easy just to track if I do it this way. So we have route fails. So if we miss an encounter, bam, there's that. And then we're going to name this one just the spam box. So this is where we're going to put all of our Starlies and Bidoofs that we're going to catch here in just a second, plus those first three. So these guys are going into the spam because we don't need it. But like I say, if I miss a fail, like if I fail a route or something like that, we miss an encounter, we'll use one of these spams, name it whatever the route was, and then bam. Alright, but now let's get started, guys. Let's go find our princess. Okay. So we have Sir Watt. I'm going to collect as much as we can, too. But we need to find our princess. There's 3 areas, I believe, that we can catch a Babymon here at the beginning. Well, there's 2 that are easy to get to. There's one that's a lot farther away with higher level Pokemon, so it's not ideal, but if we have to, we'll go that far. And the reason I say if we have to is because this area, well, I mean, the baby Pokemons are actually kind of tough to catch. See, that's not the Babymon. It's just log. It's wood. I thought there was a Babymon here. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Sometimes there's a Pichu here, sometimes there isn't. I think it's here. It might be a little bit farther down. Where is it? Oh, and you know what we can do? I forgot about this. We can put Oshawott on the layout. There's a lot of Wurmples here at the start too, so always kind of hope that we get a Wurmple. Okay, looks like there isn't a Pichu here at the beginning. Which is a little bit of a bummer, because I wanted Pichu for our princess. I'm just going to double check, though, because like there was one time I attempted this run, and I could not find a Pichu here after like 10 different like resets of the routes, right? And then the last time I actually did it, there was one right away. Excuse you, puppy. Alright, so no Pichu here, which is okay. Not a big deal. There is another area. That has a Babymon we can get to. Hopefully it's not too hard to catch. But they have been before. And that's over here in the Horseshoe Plains. I believe it's what it's called. don't remember exactly where it's at. Last time I kind of just like stumbled upon it. It was in the grass, so kind of have to be careful. Because I do not want to go to the third area that has a Babymon. Like that. It's just not okay. Might also try throwing a Pokeball at this Alpha Rapidash over here. Okay, where are you? If we don't see it over here, we'll reset the route. But there should be a Mime Jr. somewhere over here. Last time I found it, it was in the grass, and I barely noticed it before he started to run away. I ended up catching it, but barely. So we got some weasels. I think it's this grass over here somewhere. We like to hide out. Like I was saying, I'd honestly prefer the Pichu over the Mime Jr., but it really doesn't matter because it's the Princess Mon. They're not being used in battle or anything, so it doesn't matter what it is. I just have a dope name for the Pichu. Alright, let's check over here just a little bit more. Maybe we misjudged which grass it was. Unless I like accidentally missed it. Oh, there's the Rapidash. Yo, if we get... Oh, no, we didn't get lucky. That was worth a shot. We definitely don't want to battle that thing. That'll be the end of the run. It was worth a shot, though. That'd be so dope, though, if we actually got the Alpha Rapidash as our Steed Mon to start off the playthrough with. That would've been great. Okay, so I'm not seeing it. Let's fly back. Let's reset the route and try to go after the Pichu instead. And don't mind the dog just drinking a whole bunch of water if you guys can hear that. I apologize. Alright. check 2. Hopefully, this time around, we'll find that Pichu. Because that would be amazing. Get your wet beard out of here, dog. Go lay down, puppy. Man, I hope in Scarlet and Violet that they have the dodge animation or something like it, because it's literally like my favorite part of this game. Being able to do like front flips and stuff off of cliffs. A little bit of parkour aspect to it. Well, you know what? There is another section back there that technically... Oh, there's the Pichu. That technically has a Babymon to it. But I don't think you can get to that Babymon until later in the game. Stay in the ball. Yes! Alright. We got the princess. Baby princess. Number small. Is this a small one too? Let's go. Look at all those quests that we're doing too for the Pokédex. That's great. Alright. It's a male. Wow, that kind of sucks for the name. If it was a female, it'd be better, but... Because normally I name it Princess Peach. But we're going to name it Prince Peach. This is now the Protect the Prince run. Switch these two up. Bam. Alright, so now we can go ahead and start catching our team members and start doing some quests. So there's a couple of really good Pokemon that I kind of want to add to the team. I don't know how easily they are going to be available to find, but they are here. On a couple of my tests, I've seen them around. Like I said, one of them, the Dwarf, we're going to look for a Shaking Rock. But when it's about to become nighttime too, so that changes up some of the quests as well. So we want a Shaking Rock for the Dwarf. We'll most likely go ahead and get a Ponyta for our first Steedmon, even though there's a better Steedmon later in this area. But we'll get there when we get there. I'm not gonna catch all 16 Pokemon that we need right here at the beginning. We're gonna save a couple of the encounters for more of the open sections. And honestly, I might even only catch like 4 Pokemon for our encounters, because if you look at the map, right now we have just 2 sections available. I think there's a total of 4. Like, we can get to this area, and we can technically get all the way down to here, but I don't know how many of these actually have names. But I think last time I did get all the way down here, and up here there was really only 4 or 5 sections that were open. So we're going to try to keep the encounters based on how many of the sections that we open. But yes, 100% we're going to go with the Weasel. Maybe not that one. We're gonna see if there's any alphas or anything like that available. We can kind of be picky in this run. Be a little bit picky. More worm poles. Once it turns to night too, there's some other encounters that we can get, so I kind of want to see some of those instead. I know for sure one of them that we're going to go after. I don't know what class it's going to fit into, but it might be one of our Elfmons. Oh look, see there's the Mime Jr. Which honestly, I do want to catch. Did we catch it unaware? We didn't. Dang it. It ran. Okay, well that's gonna count as a failed route encounter, which is unfortunate. So we gotta remember that once we go back to the box. We'll put one of our spam mons in that failed route. But this guy, this is who I want to add. Ooh. This is what I was talking about, might be one of our elves, because it's light. It's technically not bipedal. It might be tall. I don't know how they consider its height. This might be the elf that we're going to have for our first one. So let's check the summary. 1-5, it's super light, so that kind of fits into it. Plus defense, minus special defense. That's just kind of like neutral, I guess. It's a special attacker. This could be our mage too, because it is a special attacker. It's confusion. Oops. Confusion is special. Well, we'll decide if it's going to be the mage or our elf here in a second. We're going to keep catching a couple more members for the team. And I'm going to use this guy just to start throwing it out there. Get him some levels. Because he's going to be added on the team. I just don't know as what just yet. I'm also thinking about adding a Wurmple. The only problem with Wurmple is we don't know what it's going to evolve into. I don't know exactly how that Pokemon works with its evolutions. Oh, jeez. Wasn't paying attention. But it might just be added as our mage in general because of that unique opportunity that it changes its evolution. And it might just be like one of those rare circumstances, because if it's not a special attacker, which I don't know if Dustox or Beautifly are special or physical attackers. I'm not sure how they work, but it might be just like a rare occasion that we just accept it because it has that unique evolution. Yo, get out of here. We already got one of you. I don't need another. Unless you're yellow, I don't want another Drifloon. Do you want to catch our Steed mon though? So let's try to find ourselves a Ponyta. There's two over there. But not blue. We actually do get a blue Ponyta later. Which, you know what? Since that's a static blue Ponyta, I think what we'll do is we'll just have that replace the Steed once we get it. Oh, okay, I guess we're going for that one. Hopefully we catch it. Stay in the Pokeball. It did not. No. Okay, it's just looking around. There we go. Bam. Add the Steed to the team. Let's go. Alright, let's take a look at this Ponyta now. We'll definitely will change its name. Whew. Tackle and fire. Let's move these around. Plus defense minus speed. That's not good for a Ponyta, because Ponytas are super fast. Relaxed nature. Get out of here. Let's change these moves. Not change it. I actually just wanted to look at the moves and move them around. Cool. Alright. And because this is our noble steed, there's only one name for it. This is Donkey. Alright, and you know, it's probably during the day that this thing pops up, but there is another encounter over here that I was hoping to get. Like I was saying, it's probably a Daemon. Now, something that's going to make this game a little challenging is the encounters. Like I was saying, each route has anywhere from 12 to 18 areas, and that's how many we can get. Obsidian Fieldlands has 16, so we're going to get 16 encounters. Now, because we only have 16 encounters for this area, and the Pokemon die pretty easy in this game, as far as like the Nuzlocke go, we kind of have to be picky on what we choose, because if we catch a bunch of Drifloons for our encounters, they're all not going to fit into the right categories, the right characters. So I can't have just a bunch of elves, and then I won't have anybody on my team because they can't be considered dwarves, right? So we kind of have to be picky about what we choose for our encounters, because we need a good variety in the PC, just in case like Donkey faints. I can't use a Drifloon as as an encounter, right? Alright, but you know what? Let's head up to the professor, finish this up, and then we'll call that an episode, because it's been an hour already. You know, we could just fly up there now, too. I'm being targeted still? Who's looking at me? Get up here. Alright, let's see what you got. Caught 3, we did a lot of things for the decks. Bam, bam, bam. Cool. Did we get enough? Nope, not enough. That's alright. Cool. Well, this is what we're going to call the episode, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the very first episode of the Protect the Prince run. If you guys like this video, definitely hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like I said, this is going to be an everyday series if I can. I'm really trying to get back into the swing of things. Like I said, it's been a while since we've been doing a YouTube channel series, so I'm going to try to do this every single day if we can. It might be 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.